Hello, I'm Jim, and this is the Mevotech Overbuilt video series. Today we're going to talk about a very unique kind of ball joint. Now, I've been told that these two ball joints are identical. They don't look identical to me, so I'm going to check with my tech expert, Gordon. Gordon, how can these be identical? One looks a lot taller than the other.
Well, you're right. One does look taller than the other. They are identical parts. This ball stud is fully retracted and this ball stud is fully extended. So these are what we call telescopic ball joints.
Okay.
Now, the OEs designed these ball joints like this to take care of the part-to-part variation you see on Jeeps and some Ram pickup trucks on their solid axle versions.
Okay.
So when the technician tightens these ball joints in place, as they tighten this nut, this ball stud will extend and it'll come in contact with the axle, and that sets it in the correct position. This is a little bit different than the typical ball joint that articulates back and forth. These will extend back and forth during installation, but they don't articulate, but they do rotate when you steer the vehicle.
Now, when a technician goes to install one of these telescopic ball joints, are there any tips or precautions they should keep in mind?
Sure, there's a couple of things that they need to keep in mind. Number one, you always have to make sure that you don't crush these laminations when you're installing it. And when you're torquing these up, you have to follow the OEM specified torque sequence.
Okay.
So typically what that means is you tighten the lower ball joint to about 50% of its full torque, then you tighten the upper ball joint to 100% of its full torque, and then you go back and retighten the lower ball joint to 100% of its full torque.
Keeping the assembly in balance.
Keeping it in balance and make sure that steering knuckle can rotate freely.
There you go. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Mevotech Overbuilt video series, but a versatile part is that telescopic ball joint. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you with the next video.